en su Biblia los invito a que busquen el Salmo 51. Por tu amor, oh Dios, ten compasión de mí. Por tu gran ternura, borra mis culpas. Lávame de mi maldad, límpiame de mi pecado. Reconozco que he sido rebelde. Mi pecado no se borra de mi mente. Contra ti he pecado y solo contra ti, haciendo lo malo, lo que tú condenas. Por eso, tu sentencia es justa, e irreprochable tu juicio. En verdad, soy malo desde que nací. Soy pecador desde el seno de mi madre. En verdad, tú amas al corazón sincero, y en lo íntimo me has dado sabiduría. Purifícame con hisopo y quedaré limpio. Lávame y quedaré más blanco que la nieve. Lléname de gozo y alegría. Alégrame de nuevo, aunque me has quebrantado. Aleja de tu vista mis pecados y borra todas mis maldades. Oh Dios, pon en mí un corazón limpio. Dame un espíritu nuevo y fiel. No me apartes de tu presencia, ni me quites tu Santo Espíritu. Hazme sentir de nuevo el gozo de tu salvación. Sosténme con tu espíritu generoso, para que yo enseñe a los rebeldes tus caminos, y los pecadores se vuelvan a ti. Líbrame de cometer homicidios, oh Dios, Dios de mi salvación, y anunciaré con cantos que tú eres justo. Señor, abre mis labios, y con mis labios te cantaré alabanzas. Pues tú no quieres ofrendas ni holocaustos. Yo te los daría, pero no es lo que te agrada. Las ofrendas a Dios son un espíritu dolido. Tú no desprecias, oh Dios, un corazón hecho pedazos. Haz bien nación por tu buena voluntad. Vuelve a levantar los muros de Jerusalén. Entonces aceptarán los sacrificios requeridos, las ofrendas y los holocaustos. Entonces se ofrecerán becerros sobre tu altar. Gloria al Padre, y al Hijo, y al Espíritu Santo, en el principio, ahora y siempre, por los siglos de los siglos. Amén. Señor, nos encontramos ante tu presencia. Estamos aquí frente a ti, Señor, porque nos damos cuenta que te necesitamos. Tenemos tantas cosas que decirte, Señor. Permítenos en estos momentos poder abrir nuestro corazón y poder entablar un diálogo profundo contigo. Sabemos, Señor, que en la oración tú siempre nos escuchas y nosotros siempre encontraremos una respuesta a nuestras necesidades. Te necesitamos, Señor, y por eso nos encontramos aquí frente a ti.
Cosas que
nuestro Señor, el Padre ya está ahí disponible para escuchar sus confesiones. En estos momentos los invito a que cada uno de ustedes, contemplando a Jesús en Eucaristía, revisemos nuestra vida. ¿Cuáles han sido nuestras faltas que hemos cometido o que cometemos constantemente? Saquemos todo aquello que nos daña y que no nos deja ser libres. Tal vez en nuestro corazón estamos guardando algún resentimiento, un odio, una impotencia. Cada uno de nosotros sabemos qué es lo que traemos muy dentro de nuestro corazón y que nos impide encontrarnos con Jesús. Hoy es momento, jóvenes, de sacar todo aquello que nos esclaviza y que no nos deja ser libres, para encontrarnos con este Jesús que dio su vida por nosotros. Si no sabemos perdonar a alguien que nos ha ofendido, que nos ha dañado, que ha marcado nuestra vida, no para cosas buenas, sino que ha dañado nuestra vida, es momento que le digamos a Jesús que nos ayude a sanar. Él es el único que conoce qué es lo que guardamos en lo más íntimo de nuestro corazón. Y dámosle al Señor que nos ayude a poder perdonar. La sanación requiere perdón. Y si hasta en estos momentos en nuestro corazón hay esos resentimientos para alguien que nos ha ofendido, que nos ha dañado, digámosle, Señor, es momento de perdonar. Es momento de cambiar. Tú perdonaste, Señor, a los malhechores, a los soldados que te ofendieron, no solamente físicamente, sino moral, cuando se burlaban de ti. compartirlo con los demás. y traigamos a nuestra mente una escena de la pasión de Jesús. La escena que recordemos. Que contemplemos a este Jesús sufriente, a este Jesús que dio su vida por amor por nosotros. A este Jesús que, a pesar de todo lo que tuvo que pasar, todo lo aceptó por amor. Y con los ojos cerrados vamos a meditar también el siguiente canto.
Away
Los invito, jóvenes, a que pasen al frente, estén más de cerca de Jesús sacramentado. Pueden pasar. Y pueden ir tomando el pensamiento que está ahí. Y pidámosle al Señor con un corazón sincero, con un corazón arrepentido, que nos ayude a poder cambiar, que nos haga a su manera, que nos dé un corazón nuevo, un corazón transparente. Que digamos, Señor, haz mi corazón como tú quieras, que yo sea ese barro entre tus manos, que moldees mi corazón. Que el Señor nos haga nuestro corazón semejante al de Él. Si no sabemos perdonar, que nos enseñe a perdonar. Si no sabemos amar, que nos enseñe a amar.
Darle las puertas que se
Y vamos a terminar estos momentos de oración pidiendo la intercesión de la Virgen María para que nos ayude a tener un corazón puro como ella lo tuvo. Los invito a que se pongan de rodillas para terminar Jesús. Santa María, Madre de Dios, ruega por nosotros pecadores, ahora y en la hora de nuestra muerte. Amén.
Van a responder cantando que contiene en sí todo deleite. Le diste a comer el pan del cielo. Oremos. Oh Dios, que en este sacramento admirable nos dejaste el memorial de tu pasión, te pedimos nos concedas venerar de tal modo los sagrados misterios de tu cuerpo y de tu sangre, que experimentemos constantemente en nosotros el fruto de tu redención, tú que vives y reinas por los siglos de los siglos. Amén. favor, repetir después de mí. Bendito sea Dios.
Bendito sea Dios.
Bendito sea su santo nombre.
Bendito sea su santo nombre.
Bendito sea Jesucristo, verdadero Dios y verdadero hombre.
Bendito sea Jesucristo, verdadero Dios y verdadero hombre.
Bendito sea el nombre de Jesús.
Bendito sea el nombre de Jesús.
Bendito sea su sacratísimo corazón.
Bendito sea su sacratísimo corazón.
Bendita sea su preciosísima sangre.
Bendita sea su preciosísima sangre.
Bendito sea Jesús en el santísimo sacramento del altar.
Bendito sea Jesús en el santísimo sacramento del altar.
Bendito sea el Espíritu Santo Paráclito.
Bendito sea el Espíritu Santo Paráclito.
Bendita sea la gran Madre de Dios, María Santísima.
Bendita sea la gran Madre de Dios, María Santísima.
Bendita sea su santa e inmaculada concepción.
Bendita sea su santa e inmaculada concepción.
Bendita sea su gloriosa asunción.
Bendita sea su gloriosa asunción.
Bendita sea María, Madre de la Iglesia.
Bendita sea María, Madre de la Iglesia.
Bendito sea el nombre de María, Virgen y Madre.
Bendito sea el nombre de María, Virgen y Madre.
Bendito sea San José, su castísimo esposo.
Bendito sea San José, su castísimo esposo.
Bendito sea Dios en sus ángeles y en sus santos.
Bendito sea Dios en sus ángeles y en sus santos.
Ok, bueno, muchas gracias. Antes que se termine todo, vamos a hacer una pequeña animación y después va a seguir el tema que nos va a dar el seminarista Mateo. Before everything ends, we're going to do a small icebreaker, and then afterwards, the seminarian Mateo will give us a small talk, kind of like a summary at the end. Thank you.
Bueno, para hacer esta animación nos ponemos de pie. ¿Quién ya se sabe la de Cristo pasó por aquí? ¿Quién se ayuda con los padres? Ya nuestras hermanas misioneras nos ayudaron bastante. ¿Alguien que se quiera animar? ¿No dejen sobre alguien más? A ver si tenemos una ayuda. ahorita
¿Esa
para-
agarramos? Está aquí, ahí ahora en
Sale,
el altar. Entonces agarras uno a tu hermano de una vez.
Good afternoon, everyone. As you heard earlier, my name is Matthias Salam. I'm a seminarian studying for the Diocese of Jovenes. I will be reflecting on our Holy Father's message, Lenten message, very important, but never too late to reflect back on it. So, I'll be talking about a time for renewing faith, hope, and love, the three theological virtues. I will be doing my reflection in English, and I assume all of you understand English, right? As I still smoothing up my Spanish. So I want to start with, right now, it's a beautiful thing, before we start something, putting ourselves, we know that God is, Christ is always present, He's always in the remains, right? So we always remember, Christ is always present here. We always come, give our time to Christ, giving our time or all to Him. So it's an opportunity for us as we enter, into Holy Week. It's a moment where we come to encounter Christ. I don't know how many of you, when you came, circle around the Blessed Sacrament. I know, coming from, sitting down there, moving here, there comes a lot of fear in us, right? Especially when we are asked to do something, there's a lot of fear that comes like, I'm afraid to get up. Now, others are watching. But we come and we offer that fear to God. We offer that fear to Jesus. So, in our reflection today, our Holy Father starting, with fasting, prayer, and almsgiving. What are all of those? What does this mean? Fasting. What does all of these things entail? In your age, youths, teenagers, there's a lot that happens to us. There's a lot that is happening. There's a lot of uncertainty. There's a lot of, I want to focus on all of these things, but it's just like a whole lot of noise that's there, distraction is there. I can't focus, I can't stay, I can't remain with Christ. So we're invited there to fast on these things. Whatever that distracts us, whatever that takes away my time, whatever that, an obstacle that stops me from coming to encounter, to renew, to conversion with Jesus. I will give so for example, something that that is so hard for you to give up. So we sacrifice these things. Especially, as we enter this Holy Week, what is something that I really want to give to Jesus? Something that I want to sacrifice? Something that, I want to be there, I want to be with Jesus, but this thing here is stopping me from doing it. Maybe technology. It's a huge thing now. Social media. Maybe just, spending time, just wasting time. Not constructively, not using my time wisely. Maybe give that 5 minutes, 10 minutes to Jesus. And then he went on to say, prayer. Prayer, just again, that 5-10 minutes, coming to Jesus, offering him my worries, my fears, everything that's happening there. Giving him. It's a relationship with Jesus. Prayer. It's like when you have your friends, you converse with your friends, with your best friends, right? How many of you have friends and then, you freely share with your friends what is happening there? Or you ask for encouragement. How many of you, you go to your friend, you trust your friends? Good. Because sometimes when I'm alone, I feel like, goodness, that even to my parents I want to reveal, and even to my parents I want to mention these things. But our best friend is Jesus. He's the best of the best. So I come to him with prayer, offering him these things that are happening to me. Again, something that is happening inside, or something that my relationship with my friends, my home, with others. And when we come and bring those to Jesus in prayer, we're having that communication heart to heart with Jesus. It's just like when you talk to your friend, right? It's just like when you talk to your friend. So we come and talk to Jesus, my friend. I tell him everything. And during Holy Hour, I'm pretty sure some of you, most of you, or all of you, went for confession, which is a beautiful thing. Because that's the moment when I pour my everything to Jesus. Look, I'm a failure. Look, I failed, Jesus. Look, I can't do it. I remember when I first entered seminary, my first confession was before I received First Holy Communion. And First Holy Communion, I remember how old you might be, how old I would be, very young. And I never confessed my sins since then, up until when I entered seminary when I was 19, 20. Can you imagine? All those years, I was really living my life as if though I own it. But when I came to realize I can't do it, I have to pour that to Jesus. And I can clearly remember when I went, I was like, what's going to happen? When I give up my everything, I confess my sins. It's an amazing thing. When I left the confessional, I felt like my shoulders were so soft, were so oh my God, all the load that was there. I can feel I can breathe now. But then remember, like, as youth, we're afraid to tell our sins. But remember, we're not afraid to do these sins, right? We're not afraid to commit these sins. But we are afraid to go and confess, to admit what we have done. As St. John Paul II, he would always say, do not be afraid. That's my favorite verse from my line from St. John Paul II. Do not be afraid. Open wide your hearts for Christ. So that's what I invite. That's what we invite to do, during the 40 days, and then now we enter the Holy Week. That is what we're supposed to do. Prayer, telling God. And then almsgiving. What does that mean? We might all have in our families, maybe our grandparents, maybe our relatives, who we go and visit. Even again, within our schools, within our church communities. How do I look at these children of God, brothers and sisters of mine? How do I look at them? How do I treat them? So, Pope Francis, he started with faith. Faith calls us to accept the truth and testify before God and all our brothers and sisters. That is the time when, I come to him. Like the woman, right? Faith, hope. Remember the story in the gospel where the Samaritan woman, when Jesus told him, when Jesus asked, for a water. You remember the story? And you remember what the Samaritan woman said to him? Said to Jesus? Or do you remember what was that dialogue between those two? Remember when Jesus said, if you would ask me this water, I would give you the water that does not have end. What is that water? Well, Francis reflected and said, the Holy Spirit. The woman was like, she couldn't understand. How can, Jesus, because remember the woman also said, like, oh, you don't even have anything to draw water from the well. Remember that Jesus said that I am the living water. Especially during this time of, uncertainty, during this pandemic, during this time when, how can I have hope? How can I have hope? That's exactly what we are celebrating during this time of Holy Week. During the time of Lent, when we have prepared, when we have been invited to conversion, now is the time I look forward to the Paschal mystery, where Christ has first loved me even though I am a sinner. He loved me first, not because I loved him, no, because he loved me. It's because he loved me that he created me for a purpose, for a mission. To love others. To love my brothers and sisters. And that is exactly what, in Pope Francis' reflection is telling us. Again, we're going back to the sacrament of penance, forgiveness. When I receive that forgiveness, I am able to forgive others because I know what forgiveness is. Because receives that. So when I receive that now, I'm able to give to others. So love, because Christ has loved me, even died on the cross for me. So now I'm able to pour that to others, to invite others, as young people, as youth. Again, Pope Francis said, you are the now. You're not because we don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. Because we don't know what is God's plan for us tomorrow. So we are for now. So I can live up my life as who God created me to be. As God created me as His beloved son and daughter, created in His image and likeness. But there are times when I feel like, goodness, I can't. Or because, my friends or my friend keeps telling me like, oh, you church people. Oh, you do all of these. Oh, you go to church. Oh, like, what do you do? Oh, why should I have to go to church? Oh, like, why should I have to waste my time there? And then we're always like, I never thought about that. That's actually a good, thing of thinking. And then I decided, yeah, I cannot push myself. That moment when I feel like, that moment when I feel like I am far from God, it's not God, it's not Jesus who pushes himself. No, I am the one who push myself, separate myself. And that is exactly what we are supposed to do now, to convert, to believe in me, to come closer. Again, as young people, if you take a look in the church, wherever church you go, whichever parish you go to, if you take a look at maybe like morning masses, who are there? Who are there at the morning masses? Tell me. Thank you. Who's there for the 9 or the 8 a.m. mass? Who is there for the noon mass? Who is there for the evening mass? And when these old folks, when they go, who is going to be there? You. And that's what we're invited to do, conversion. Because at first I never reflected on my education. I never thought it was going to be in the seminary. I had my own plans, just as you, young people do. I had my own ideas of how I want to live my life. I want to be a rich person. But remember, God has His own plan, and then it's just like, oh. And when He pulls me there, I'm like, I don't understand. And then when we think of, okay, on my past living, like, how can there be hope? Because I've done all of these things. People know all my mess. People know all the things I've done in school, at home, my disobedience to my parents. How can there be hope for me? There is hope for you, because Jesus is merciful. Because Jesus gave His life for you and for all of us. So there is hope. So during the Paschal Mystery, Pope Francis, in his reflections, that is when we renew our baptismal promises. Remember when we were, still baby? But we didn't know how to, or we didn't reply. But we have that opportunity during the Easter, during Easter, during the Holy Week, Easter Vigil. We have that hope now that we're grown up, we're able to think for ourselves. We're able to renew our baptismal promises. we're able to say, yes, Jesus. Yes, Jesus. And then I'm able to say, okay, now I've experienced your love, and then I'm just going to give my everything for you. Take a step forward. You know, there's a lot of occasions, there are a lot of opportunities that God gives to us. You know, one day maybe God tells you, okay, I know you. I want you to be with me. Because remember, even when we, even when we go to confession, even if I said, okay, I'm not going to tell this sin. Maybe there's a sin that I did not tell the priest, because I would say like, okay, because when I'm going to see the face of this priest again, he's going to remember my sins. And I'm like, oh my goodness. So I'm going to keep that. I'm not going to tell him. You're mistaken. God knows everything. Even from the depths of our hearts. He knows it. So this time, this whole week, is that opportunity for us to say, yes, Jesus. So, love, following in the footsteps of Christ, in concern and compassion for all. That's the highest expression of our faith and hope. That's what Pope Francis said in his reflection. And also St. Paul to the Corinthians said, if I don't have love, then it's nothing. So I invite you all to consider what exactly is God telling you right now to sacrifice, to give during this Semana Santa, whole week. Let's think about it. I encourage you and I challenge you to give the time to Jesus and say, I am going to Mass, at least for the tribute. Holy Thursday, Good Friday, and Holy Saturday. No, I challenge you to do that. Commit yourself. Again, do not be afraid. Do not say like, oh, because my friends are going to tell me all of this when I'm going to go back to school or when I'm going to see them. You're not living for your friends. You're living for God. So think about that. Love, faith, and hope. As St. Paul says, when all of this three, love prevails. So I thank you. I'm sorry for those, maybe who were not able to understand my English, because again, I apologize because I'm still trying to learn Spanish and I don't want to get lost. So, but if some of you, maybe a word or something reminded you and they want to share here to the ones who don't understand, may God bless you. So thank you for your attention. May God bless you as you continue to journey in following Christ, especially during this week. And may God bless. Thank you.
Thank you, Brother Mateo. Now we're just making a brief announcement. We're running out of quick snack. So we invite everyone to go ahead and step up there. We hope to see you guys up there.
Thank you, Mateo. Para cerrar, mañana tenemos el rosario para los niños a las 6:30 y después también ejercicios espirituales para los que tengan niños pequeños que los traigan mañana. Igual va a ser aquí en la iglesia. Y pues muchas gracias por haber venido y espero que